This is a story from a time long ago. So long that men know not exactly when. During the age of myths, when men worshipped at the altars of the ancient gods, Odin, Heimdall, and Tyr, and did battle with terrible monsters, vile demons, and the last of the dragons of old in their lairs of hoarded gold deep beneath the earth. And the eldest of elders still spake the name of this place as the Kingdom of Midgard. In the shadowed realm of Scandinavia, in the land of the Geats, there dwelt a king of unmatched valor and renown. Hrothgar, lord of the Danish kingdom of Heorot, who, in his prime, had slain a terrible dragon himself. And the people adored King Hrothgar, for though age was now upon him, he had led them well for many years, and under his reign, wealth and prosperity were known throughout the land. Sharing with his people his riches
From my conquest,
and his wisdom and his mead. With tremendous pride and great generosity, he built a mighty and glorious mead hall so that he and his people may celebrate great victories of the past and plan for great deeds and epic conquests in the future amidst drinking, music, and mirth.
and fornication!
Ah, yes, my king, of course. And the bards sang the song of Hrothgar.
The demon dragon, where the men would freeze, and then my lord took his sword and brought it to its knee. The greatest of our kings! He broke the dragon's way! The kingdom fell in darkness, and shadows ruled the night. With no sign of dawn, he soldiered on and brought us back alive! He never shook your
And for a while, life in the kingdom was peaceful and good. But amidst the feasting and revelry of his grand hall, a fearsome specter arose to cast a shadow over his realm. Born of darkness and fueled by an insatiable hunger for blood. A monstrous fiend known as Grendel. Night after night, Grendel stalked the land, terrorizing the people of Heorot with his savage attacks, leaving death and despair in his wake. No blade nor spear could pierce his hide. No warrior could withstand his monstrous strength. King Hrothgar, knowing that he alone stood no chance against this foul and malicious beast, and desiring more than anything to protect his people nearing to the end of his long reign, sent forth a call for aid to any and all who possessed strength and courage enough to challenge the terror that was Grendel. But for a long while, none came, and the attacks continued, and the kingdom was plunged into darkness. But then, from the distant shores of Geatland, the sea itself sent forth a mighty hero. A man of towering stature and iron will, known throughout the land as Beowulf. champion of his people and scourge of all evil. With a heart afire with valor and a sword as keen as lightning, Beowulf set forth to rid the world of the foul beast that plagued the kingdom of Heorot. Arriving by way of the sea in a powerful storm on a great ship, mighty to behold, accompanied by 20 bold and brazen thanes, each mighty themselves but proud to serve, and to fight, and row the fearsome seas. In the ranks of the hero Beowulf, row, row ye brave and mighty thanes, for glory, for gold, for your lord the mighty Beowulf. Named after his grandfather, himself a mighty hero. Beowulf and his thanes stood in the hall of King Hrothgar, and they were greeted with a mixture of apprehension and awe, for though tales of the mighty Beowulf's strength and deeds were known to the people of Heorot, they had seen firsthand the horrific bloodshed left in the wake of the destruction wrought upon them by the beast, and some doubted that any man, even a hero such as Beowulf, could slay this terror and return peace to the land. For the task he had undertaken was nigh impossible, a duel to the death with the fearsome Grendel, the terror of the Danes. But confident was Beowulf in the strength of he and the might of his men, and he proudly declared that he would defeat this Grendel, even if he had to beat the monster to death with his bare hands, and send him forth through the great doors of the mighty mead hall. And though the people cheered and many rejoiced, for it seemed the time of darkness would soon come to an end, there were those who still begged King Hrothgar make ready sacrifices of goats and sheep to the gods Odin and Heimdall. But Hrothgar said no, and he explained to the people that he had every confidence in the might of Beowulf, and bade that his people should trust in the might of a man. For the gods did not help those who did not strive to help themselves. And so the people of Heorot waited for the coming of night and the returning of the beast. As night fell and darkness shrouded the land, Beowulf stood vigil within the hallowed halls of Heorot, his keen eyes scanning the shadows for any sign of the monstrous foe. But for some time, the beast Grendel did not appear, and Beowulf suspected that the monster was watching them from the shadows, and perhaps he planned to attack the people in the village below. And he thought of the men and their women and children, and he quickly devised a scheme to draw Grendel from hiding. He told his men to
sing
and make ruckus with mirth and the songs of their deeds, and the women who did swoon over them, and all other manner of boastful things,
loudly,
to mock the loathsome Grendel until his ears rang, and he could think of nothing else than a fight with the likes of Beowulf. And Beowulf took off his armor, stretched himself out before the throne of Hrothgar, and closed his eyes with a smile, so that when Grendel did appear, the first thing he would see was a man with no armor and no fear. For Beowulf had neither, and he had sharpened his sword, which was at the ready by his side. And the wisest of his thanes did command them to sing.
You heard him. He wants us to sing, so sing!
And the fattest of his thanes
Hold up! Sing!
began to sing.
There was a dozen virgins, Frisians, Danes and Franks. We took them for some swiving, and all we got were weight.
Whoa! We are Beowulf's army!
Louder and louder did they bellow with every jeering verse.
The fattest of the virgins, I knew her for a whore. I gave her all my codpiece, and still she wanted more. Her sister was from Norway, she cost me 20 groats. She showed me there was more ways than one to sow my oats. Her mother was from Iceland, and she was mighty hot. She'll need a whole damn iceberg to cool her burning.
And lo, as the moon rose high in the sky, Grendel emerged from the depths of the moors, his twisted form wreathed in darkness and malice.
Grendel, he knocks.
But the brave and boastful brawling men brought forth by Beowulf showed no fear, and grinning and jeering the beast beyond the door, they drew their blades, readied their shields, and prepared to add one more jaunty, blood and beer-soaked verse to the song of Beowulf. With a roar that shook the very earth, Grendel descended upon the hall, his claws outstretched and his fangs bared in a rictus grin of death. But Beowulf was ready, his mighty sword gleaming as he met the monster head-on. As Grendel lunged at Beowulf with a ferocity born of nightmares, the hero's sword met with resistance, a hide as tough as the mountains themselves, impervious to mortal steel. With a roar of frustration, Beowulf realized that brute force alone would not slay this monstrous fiend. But the beast smashed Beowulf with a great and terrible blow, and threw him to the ground, and with an unnatural speed did the loathsome Grendel slay several of the brave and daring thanes of Beowulf, biting their heads off and tearing their bodies in twain. Undaunted, Beowulf discarded his useless blade and closed the distance between himself and Grendel, with a speed born of vengeful fury and primal desperation. Grappling and battling ferociously, they tore at each other, and with a mighty leap, Beowulf did seize the creature in a bone-crushing embrace, his arms like iron bands constricting around the monster's writhing form. So fearsome was the roar of Beowulf that it is said that Grendel did shrink and cower in fear before him. Grendel howled in agony as Beowulf's powerful grip tightened around him, each sinew and muscle strained to its limit in the titanic struggle. As the battle raged on, Beowulf's men threw open the doors to the mead hall and threw chains around the writhing Grendel as Beowulf dragged the creature towards the doors. With a savage fury, Beowulf tore at the creature's flesh with his bare hands, his fingers digging deep into Grendel's hide with relentless determination. Beowulf felt the resistance give way beneath his grasp, and a triumphant roar escaped his lips as he tore the arm from its socket. With a sickening crunch, the sound of rending flesh drowned out by the creature's anguished cries as Grendel staggered back, howling in pain. But Beowulf dragged the beast before the mead hall doors, grabbing him once more by his broken arm, and he looked right into the terror-stricken face of the horror with a sneer. And Grendel spoke, and asked in a strange, abominable voice.
What art thou?
It speaks.
It asked the warrior, "Who are you?" And the mighty Geat bellowed in the face of Grendel.
I am Ripper,
What those who feared him called him.
Terror, Slasher, Gouger.
Who he was, what he was here to do.
I am the chief in the darkness, the challenge in the night.
The woeful terror this mewling Quim had unleashed.
Mine is strength and lust and power.
A proclamation of his mighty name and the monster's doom.
I am Beowulf!
Then Beowulf slammed the massive mead hall door upon the broken arm of the creature Grendel. And it fell bloody and severed to the floor.
Grendel's arm. You've done it.
Still, grasping and twitching with hand and claw. Then moved no more.
He's torn the limbs from the beast. Beowulf has killed him! Hail Beowulf!
And so Beowulf stood triumphant, a hero in the eyes of gods and men alike. The people of the kingdom rejoiced and mounted the arm of the defeated Grendel upon the wall of the mighty mead hall. And for generations ever since did they celebrate and tell the tale of the mighty Beowulf in the very hall where the great battle had taken place. And to this very day, the bards sing the triumph of the mighty Beowulf, his victory over the monster Grendel, now known from the shores of the great island nation to the coasts of Vinland. But what of Grendel, you may ask? You didn't think I had forgotten, did you? Well, there is indeed more to this tale, as this is only the first of 3. Grendel crawled his way to a dark below, a deep, hidden place filled with gold. The walls were gold, the floor and the bottom of every pool and well and crack and corner encrusted with shining ancient gold. Like the golden dragon scale that ran down his now broken, bloody back. With blood pooling at the edge of the water where he fell, he called out for the one creature that he knew could avenge his pending death, and he begged for vengeance. And he called to her as if he called to some ancient god.
Water. Heorot, water.
Sleep now, my son.
And who knows, perhaps she was. And as the lights went out in his strange, inhuman eyes, she asked him, "Who has done this to you? Who has slain you, my son?"
You will pay, Mindali. Wawasina.
And he smiled at her, and with his last breath spoke the name of his killer.
Beowulf.
And now, having heard that name, knowing that name, and hating the name, Grendel's mother emerged from eons of sleep to seek her revenge on the one they call
Beowulf.
Next time, Beowulf's dance with the Mother of Monsters. Coming soon to the Mythic Archives. As always, we hope you have been most entertained. Follow us here on Rumble, for soon I will return with many more tales to tell from the time of myth and legend. The last of the dragons of old in their lairs of hoarded gold deep beneath the earth, in the smog and the darkness and the ruin and the bones of the dwarven kings, and deeper still, the tales of runes and golden